way, I guess you'll also do our invitational talk night too, brother.
Sure can.
Thank you.
Put this on here. Actually, that one. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me at all? Okay, good. Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to come tonight and do the report. We appreciate very much this opportunity, and we appreciate the many, many years that y'all have been a supporter of what we're doing, a partner with us. I remember the emphasis in yours is in northern Burma and reaching over into China, and that work is very, very important, and it's very, very difficult work. It's some of the hardest work that we do, but it's also some of the most important work because there's just very little that's done over in China. And we just got back, or I say we, Joey, just got back from a trip to Burma, and we met with our China people in Burma, and we're going to probably start working from North Vietnam over into China. That's probably going to be one of our staging areas to get into China. So anyway, we appreciate y'all making it possible for us to do that. Well, this is one of the things that we talk about initially is the world's population now exceeds 8 billion people. And this is color-coded here. The darker the color, the more people there are. And if you look over on the right side of the map, that's India, China, and Southeast Asia. That's home to half the people of the planet right there in those few countries. And that's our number one target area in our work is those countries right there. The next one shows religions, and the blue and purple are places where they've been taught something about our God and about Jesus, the Son of God. And when you get over to the green and orange and yellow kind of, those are the Eastern religions and Islam, and they don't believe in the God that we believe in. They don't know about God in most of those places. And again, you see on the right, that's the target area. This map shows the places where we're working, kind of bases of our work. Over on the right, again, you see all those markers. There's a couple in Africa, and there's a few in South America. Those are real small projects. We're trying to get a foothold in South America and get that going, but it's harder to do. The language problem is bigger in South America. 3 things in our work always. Number 1, mass teaching, mass evangelism. You go to a country, reach as many people as you can. And we use radio, television, internet, literature. We get hundreds of thousands of responses who have an interest in what we've said. And that's how we begin the process. The next thing, this shows the reach of our mass media programs here. You can see the range of all the things that we're doing. And then the next thing is to follow up on those responses. And we've got about 30 teams now that work with us and follow up. You can see we do campaigns, Bible seminars, gospel meetings, about 3,200 baptisms in the last year in the follow-up program. And then finally, we train preachers and teachers and leaders. We train men and women to be Bible class teachers, and then, of course, we have men who train to be preachers. All of our schools are Bible schools, and well, we got one that's called a preacher training school, but the rest are Bible schools. Whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? How shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? How shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach unless they are sent? We get a lot of praise for going, doing what we do. But we wouldn't be going anywhere if it weren't for those who send us. We have to have the support and the partnerships with congregations to help us get there and do what we do. And we appreciate that. The Lord designed it for us to work together, and I think that's obviously shows the superior wisdom as far as the Lord's concerned. Countries, let's look first here at Thailand, I believe. And this is a new work for us. We had a request from a congregation that had been involved in Thailand for a long time, the Salem congregation up north of Florence. And they said, would you consider looking with us at some of our work and look at what we're doing in Thailand, and there may be, we'd like some ideas on how we can kind of revive and revitalize our work. And so anyway, we made a couple of trips, and the outcome from that is a Bible college called Chiang Mai Bible School in northern Thailand, way up in the northernmost part of the country. It's a region that has not been successfully evangelized. It borders Burma, it borders Laos, it's not too far from China, and it opens doors for us to get into those countries as well. One of the things in that training program we do is we train men to be how to make a living as well as how to preach the gospel. And one of the things they can do is raise turtles as turtle farmers. I've never heard of turtle farming. I understand there's one in Lauderdale County. I didn't know that. But anyway, so they go home, many of them, with either a pair of goats or a pair of turtles. And they can make a living and support their preaching. These are people from 3 countries, China, Thailand, and Burma. The Burmese had come over, and then a couple of our workers from China, and of course the American workers, and Joey's there in the middle who leads our work. And then these are just pictures from gatherings. That's Perry Brederick, one of the elders at Salem, who was over when Joey was there. That's Joey on the left. And this is a Thai meal, and this is a video if it will video. But anyway, I don't like Thai food. When I try to eat Thai food here, it's too hot, too spicy. But this food was good. This was in Thailand. And so, and that's what happens to a lot of foods when we change countries. They get changed enough that they're not the same. But anyway, I like that, and that was a good meal with the group. Lots of younger people. That's a ladies group there on the right, and then you can see Joey with some on the left. And this is the classroom, and this is a video. Some of these students have been a student for a year. They're all members. They're singing so pretty. The song leader, he hadn't been a Christian for very long, maybe 3 years or something like that. But anyway, that's in the Bible class. And there's one man in that class that's from Laos, and that's opening us up to get into another country. The next work is over in the Caribbean. It's on the island that Haiti is on, but we're working in Dominican Republic. And this is a nation of about 11 million people. Another situation where another work came to me and said, we've got to work there. We think there's a potential to do a lot better if we could incorporate some of your methods into our work. Would you consider working with us? And so we are. And this is a congregation of 200 members. About half of them are Haitian refugees. And I went over and visited. Key West, Florida is behind this work. And I said, you know, you got a building, you got a big congregation, you need to be training people. That's what I see that you need to be doing. And train these Haitians before they go to South America. They're going to immigrate to South America. They can make it a couple of years. And when they get over there, they can start congregations. And so that's the director of our new school, Santiago Bible College on the left. And that's inside the building. And on the left here is the Key West preacher that kind of is the go-between. And then there's two men from Pulaski Street that are involved in it. On the side right there, that's one of the elders at Pulaski Street, Brother Hughes, and then Mark Miller's son, and then that's the director in the middle there. But anyway, they're helping with that project. These are leaders in the church there. It's a well-developed congregation. It's probably 25 years old, and we just said there's a lot of opportunity to reach out and evangelize from this. And so anyway, these are just pictures. We've got about 17 in that class, and we're in probably the 4th month of classes. This is totally new. The basement of the building is a children's school, mostly Haitian children. They can't go to the public schools, and there's about 200 kids in that school. And some of them will make it 3 or 4 years before they have to relocate, and they go up through the 6th grade. And so we can make an imprint on their lives as they move with their families as well. The next work over in Southeast Asia is I'll have to see, is the Philippines. This is a country of about 119 million people. It's growing fast, and we're in the middle of the country. You can see the 7,000 islands there, a big one at the top and bottom, but we're in the middle islands called the Visayas. Beautiful country. If nothing happens, next Tuesday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, Janet and I will begin a journey to the Philippines to be there the rest of the month, or up until Thanksgiving, and working with them. This is a work we've had going for about 30 years, and it's been a very successful work. Our oldest school is called the Philippine Institute of Biblical Studies in Cebu. We've had probably 2,000 people that have gone through this school. And we also work with Bear Valley. This is a kind of a higher level program. We have, that was a graduation this fall of those students. They have lots of natural disasters in the Philippines. If you follow the news, they've had earthquakes. They've had 35 earthquakes in the last 2 or 3 months. And that means that they're big enough, the aftershocks are big enough to be classified as an earthquake. And then they've had several typhoons, just a few days ago, or last week one. And so we do a lot of coordination with people who do relief work there. And that was Lapu-Lapu. This is Olongo Island, big projects in those areas in the last year. And then moving on, you can see how they move about there. They use boats rather than cars to go around those islands to the populations. And we do radio, and we have several base points for our radio programs there. And this is some of the radio follow-up. And then if you go to the Philippines, and some of you have probably been there, you go to the big cities like Manila or Davao or Cebu, you see some of the modern world there, big shopping malls and normal transportation. When you leave those cities and get out into the country, you're going back 100 years. And the people are poor, they're primitive, their way of life is primitive, and that's the population that we're most successful with, is the village populations. On the island of Samar, there's not any big cities over there, but there's lots of villages and towns, millions of people all together, and we started Samar Bible School. This is our biggest going project in the Philippines right now. And the students with the blue shirts, the ones in the blue shirts are our students, the lighter blue. We will announce, or the director will announce, that classes are coming up. We will meet 1 week a month, and the students will pay their cost of coming and feed them and take care of them. We'll have our dozen students, and sometimes there'll be 100 people who will come with them. And we'll say, we can't afford to feed all of you for a week. They say, we don't care. We'll take care of that. We just want to hear your Bible classes. We want to hear what's taught. And so anyway, it's been a very successful project. This is Edwin Enso. He is our leader for that work there. He's doing a radio program here. Not very fancy, but it's very effective. It opens lots of doors. 30 minutes, $5. So it's very cost effective. And then getting out into the villages. This is a Mandakop village, a new work. This is a children's class, kind of a VBS type thing. And, that's our granddaughter been in that class. So many children, it's just unbelievable. And then that same village, a few days later, is underwater, and that's the Philippines. So one of the main things that has to happen in the Philippines is a lot of relief work, and they help each other. And then, like I say, there's one work there that we partner with that coordinates relief coming from all over the world. And that's what all these pictures here are. We do Bible studies in every relief project anywhere in the world. We have Bible studies every night in whatever community or area that we're in. And usually a couple of congregations will start after every disaster. That's a terrible way to put it, but that's what happens. And then these are just pictures from that. And there's some baptisms that came about from a week of work there. And then the man on the left, he's smiling big. He's got a garbage bag for a raincoat. He has just one leg. He's got a prosthetic leg, and he's out there in that water getting that leg wet. And I know it's painful, but he's happy to be helping. The next country moving on over is Malaysia, the island of Borneo. And we operate from the city of Kuching on the island of Borneo. This is difficult work because we're in a Muslim country, Muslim government, Muslim population. That's looking across the river. That's the government building there. And this is the longtime partner with us in that work there on the left, Thomas Coe and his daughter. That's in the spring when Janet and I were there. Again, we go out and usually we go to smaller towns for most of our successful work. We stop for breakfast, and on our way in, we see this is hanging in the window there, ducks and pork belly. And we had chicken for breakfast that morning. But anyway, that hangs there all day, day after day. It's edible, though. This is one of those little congregations. Most of them are a dozen to 2 dozen people. That's Greg Pollock, who is traveling and helping us, and there with Jeremy. That was on another trip from after Janet and I were there. And then this is when Janet and I were visiting, and we had a baptism that day. This young man was baptized, and it had been raining a lot, and the little stream was up, and Thomas and the young man washed down the river. When they went down in the water, the current caught them. But anyway, they came up smiling, and Thomas didn't lose his glasses, and so everything was good. The next country, Nepal, and Joey was just in Nepal. Joey just got home last night from Nepal, Thailand, Burma, and India. And Nepal is one of our really good going projects right now. It's doing extremely well. And he had a meeting with most of the preachers that we've trained, about 60-something of them. And then he was in graduation for 12. There's Joe in the middle, and the 3 Nepali men work with us there. This man is they're telling his story. He was one of the early converts before we were there.
So they knew that he became a Christian. So they put him in the jail.
He kind of leads our work. Tell about how he was put in jail because he was baptized. He's showing the jail and showing the little temples, and said they'd let him out of jail if he would bow down to the Hindu idols, and he wouldn't do it, so he stayed in jail for months. Nepal Bible College is our school there. As I said, Joey just was there for graduation. And then we campaigned east and west of Kathmandu. This is in the west, and it's rough terrain. That's our group, and they're waiting for someone to cross the river, so they're going the other way. They want to know how to cross. And then when they get across the river, they get to the other side, and they head up the mountain, and they're going up to the village. And the preacher there is one of our former students. And we don't support any of these preachers. I want to make a point of that. The local people support their preachers, and they build their building. They built this building themselves. It's kind of crude looking, rough looking bricks there, but it keeps them in the dry. And elephants are wild there, but this one's been tamed. He's been taught to do a little trick. And he'll wave his ears at you if you give him a gift. So that's Gracie. The guy makes his living with his trick elephant. But they roam those hillsides wild. This is where we started. This congregation has probably 200 members now. There was an earthquake there. And we had a relief project, or there was a relief project, and we came in behind it and picked it up and went from there, developed it. This is children's class, women and children's class at that location. That's the village. Most of that village is new because where they lived was wiped out by an earthquake. And they've had to rebuild. That's the preacher in the red. They're waiting for the building to be open for them, and they'll all go in for worship. And then just gather outside. But good groups, and it's not that old, probably 6 years now, I think, for that. Moving to the eastern Nepal. They're bigger groups because they've worked there longer, and that's one of the groups. This is people going home after a VBS, the very first VBS, and that area.
I'll see you later.
They're happy. There's several of those rickshaws taking people away.
Bye, Ginger.
And then the next country is Sri Lanka, just south of India. This is one of our oldest works. You can see the church building, and it's been the base for our school and all of our outreach programs in Sri Lanka for over 40 years. And then a new bridge on the right built by the Chinese. That couple in the middle is the second family that's kind of led the work there. And then the couple on the right, that's a brother and sister. And we hope that they'll be involved. He'll lead in the future as we go into the next generation. Lalani on the right, her dad was the very first person that we worked with in Sri Lanka, going back 50 years before me. She called us Monday morning and said that she had just got out of the hospital. She had broken her hip and had been through surgery to fix her hip. And she's in her mid-50s, I guess, 58 or so maybe. And so we're planning to be with them in March coming up. That's the little congregation. It used to be 200. The economy collapsed and government collapsed. And so they broke up into 6 congregations so they could meet close to where they lived. They couldn't travel. And it left the base congregation small, but they're building back. They're growing. They're actually experiencing a lot of growth in Sri Lanka right now. And that's just in the worship services there when we were there the last time. The next country is India. India is the most populous country in the world today. They've passed China. We cover all of India with something. We have television programs that cover all of India. We have follow-up in most of India on a local basis, but it's a massive population that's mostly Hindu. I was watching some news today, and they had pictures of New Delhi, India. It's the most polluted city in the world today, and you couldn't see it was so polluted. And I don't know if the president's going there in the next few days or not, but anyway, it had to do with his trip. But this country is so big, but they're very receptive. A Hindu country, you can see a little temple on the left, and then here. Started by J.C. and Betty Choate in the 1960s. Is still the base for what we do there. We run all of our mass media programs out of that building, and upstairs is offices. And they're a good, strong foundation.
The lapel mic died, you might want to step up there, one of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can move over here. So this is the oldest congregation in the main part of North India, in New Delhi, and that's where we work from. Vinay David in the white shirt now leads our project for the Hindi-speaking North India work. And we trained him in Florence at Heritage. That's his son who's coming on to be a preacher, and his daddy was a preacher.
Meeting my whole round. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity which has been given to me.
Very smart young man, very spiritual young man.
And
he's translating for himself. This is Francis David, and I'll tell a story about Francis in a minute, but we were there in July, and the middle of July, and Francis died the first week of August, and we lost a really important long-term worker. The Burmese are fleeing Burma, going to any country they can get into, and India will accept them. this congregation of Burmese people we knew in Burma, and they fled the Civil War to go there, so we still interact with them. And then Brother P.R. Swami, the gray-haired man's wife died last summer, and Joey went over last fall for her memorial service. She had been cremated a long time before this, but anyway, they had a memorial service, and this is just remembering her. It's not a religious ceremony. She's who taught her husband, P.R. Swami, before he was converted. He's baptized between 65 and 70,000 people. And it's a big loss. I've been going to Bangalore for over 40 years, and usually close to near the last day of the time I'm there, she would always call me in and say, I want to talk to you privately. And she'd give me the lowdown. She'd say, now here's some stuff that I see, and I always thought that was interesting. She was watching, very interested in the success of the work, and a good helpmeet to her husband. Brother Swami there in a seminar. The next country is Burma. This is one of the favorite countries of all of our workers. And from Burma, we got into China. Our first school was Myanmar Bible College. Burma's in civil war. They can't operate schools. We can use our buildings for a day or two at a time, but we can't have regular classes. That's the director of the oldest school, Myanmar Bible College. They're using a classroom for a VBS for a couple of days.
Isn't he wonderful, wonderful?
They have such pretty voices.
Isn't Jesus my Lord wonderful? Our blessed ears and heart is recorded in His word. Isn't Jesus my Lord wonderful?
And this is another school. We have 5 schools in Burma. The man behind the podium there is who helped me start all the Burmese work back in 1996. He's 89 years old and still going strong. His name is Joe Sain, and Sein is his last name. And that's a group that came, that's on the school property, but they couldn't do classes in the building, so they had met outside. Our preachers are still traveling all over Burma, but they go through the jungle trails and the back roads, and that's Philip on campaign there, making his way through the country. And they meet in homes, small groups. We still have hundreds of baptisms a year. That's Jamie and Joey, 2 of my sons, and Don Posey, one of the elders at Double Springs with Joe Sain's family. And this is a meeting of leaders that the government said we have to have a group that would serve as a board for the schools. All the schools have the same board, and so that's part of the board members there and their families. And just a little short 2-day class here. That's a former Buddhist priest that we taught and baptized over 20 years ago, and he's kind of the number one evangelist. He baptizes more than anyone else. Just had about 11 baptisms in the last month, and in the midst of civil war and anti-Christian government interference, he still is going strong. And he was in training to be a Buddhist priest. And then as we go out across the country, small groups, just for short meetings, and sometimes after we do what we do, the government will come in and burn those buildings down. So they take great risks to exercise their faith. Janet and I were there and are in Asia. We're actually in Thailand when this happened. Earthquake hit Burma. Asia's had a lot of earthquakes this year. I shared this footage with us. That earthquake killed about 6,000 people, and it put hundreds of thousands of people, made them homeless. because they couldn't go back in. Even if the building didn't fall, it was damaged enough they couldn't go in. And so we wanted to help out, but we couldn't get there. We couldn't get any money to them. But we work with a relief team in the Philippines that goes all over Asia, and they had 2 men that were already there. So through them, we got some help to our preachers to help out with in the places that they could.
This is where the
And,
victims of the
people
earthquakes
moved
are
into
kept
tents
temporarily, and people come and
because they
donate
had so many aftershocks.
drinking water and ready-made,
And they're still in
noodles.
those tents today.
and also doctors.
And this is where a little school was located. That's one of our preachers. He's one of our older preachers that works with us. He's in his 80s, and he was kind of almost retired. His health is real bad. But this school next to his home went down and killed 29 kids, and that's the rubble of the building they were in, their backpacks and books, and still some bodies haven't been recovered. And so he did a lot of relief work right around that little area close to the congregation. And he helped drill wells, and the water systems that were destroyed in the earthquake. And that's a well drilling operation. And it works. If you go to the next one, you'll see the pump put in, and Peter's pumping water for them. And we've had more baptisms in this work since that earthquake than we have in the last 5 years. It's unbelievable what kind of response we've had. And again, we have Bible study every night, and we have crowds because these people they're out of their homes. That's the Filipino man that helps us with all of our relief work. The next country is China. This is, as I mentioned, probably the most important work we're doing because there's such a massive population that needs to be taught. 1.4 billion in China, just slightly less than India, and Buddhists and atheists, mostly atheists, agnostic. And the man in the blue is our key person for China. Jayati is his name, and that's Joey and Jamie. They were just there with them. They both went to Burma and met with them. Our college for China workers is called Uzana Bible College. Classes have to be remote now. We can't meet in our school building. We print lots of literature for China in Chinese, and then we distribute it by hand. We can't mail it, and that shows some of the boxes of material there. And these are Chinese preachers, and one of those is the preacher that makes his way up into Tibet. I know we talked about Tibet early on, and we still make it all the way up that river valley to the Tibetan plain. And of course, Jayati's there. And there's others. That's just some of the key men. They have to meet in homes. They have to meet in secret. Churches are all underground now because of the most recent rules of the Chinese government. And then now the next country, Vietnam, kind of the same situation as China. About 100 million people, very backward except in Saigon. Now you go to Saigon and it's it's called Ho Chi Minh City today, modern city. And we start there and go out from there into the villages and smaller towns. And have any Vietnam vets, you probably recognize that name, Vung Tao. We have 2 schools, Vietnam Bible Institute and Vietnam Bible College. This school, the Institute, our director was trained at Heritage in Florence. And then this just shows the places in South America where we have something started. It's real early in that work. That's all Jeremy and Madison over close to Huntsville. But we support that work by going over and doing some teaching with them. And Recife, Brazil, we've helped out down there. This is a developed work. Randy Short from up in near Winchester, Tennessee, has been the missionary there for years. But we helped them do mass media, showed them how to do mass media in that project, and helped them out with that for a while. Ecuador, Colombia, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Peru, East Africa. We've done radio work there for about 20 years. And Janet and I made a trip over year before last. And we had 500 baptisms that year. We've had about 400 this year. This is a very productive work. Some good men. That's some of them there that work with us. And this work is coordinated by one of our radio guys up near Nashville, out of Dixon, Tennessee. And we're just a partner in that. That's an overview, just touching on quite a few of the places where we have major activities, and we thank you for helping us. We see, when we travel, we see such a great need, and we'd like to go places that we're not going, but we just have to go as far as we can. Our plate's almost full right now, but we're fixing to pick up one more work. I don't think I can announce it yet because another congregation wants to announce it, but we're going to pick up one more South Asian country and try to help out there. I showed pictures a few minutes ago of the David family. Back in the late 1960s, J.C. Choate first went to New Delhi, and the first people he taught and baptized were the Davids. And shortly after that, he had to leave, and Sonny David had to take over what was being done in India at that time, and has pretty well led the North India work, the Hindi-speaking work, ever since then. But his younger brother, Francis, joined the work when he was just a teenager. And they've worked together since the late 1960s. And Francis is the one that passed away the first week of August. But when Janet and I went over in March of this year, we were to go to New Delhi, India. We got to Bangkok, Thailand. We were going to several countries, and we always kind of look at what's coming up next and make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And we realized I didn't have a visa. My visa had expired. I had read it wrong. I had a 10-year visa that had run out, and I thought it was good through August. But anyway, so we tried every way in the world to get a visa for me to get to India, and we couldn't. So we had to change and go somewhere else. And when we notified Francis David and P.R. Swami, those two men in India, they were just extremely upset and disappointed. And they said, "You've got to come. You've just got to come over here." And so we couldn't. We just couldn't work it out. We came home. I got my visa done when we got home. We turned around and went back in the 1st of July. And we got to New Delhi, and we spent a few days with the Davids. And then we went on down and spent some time with Swami. And both of these men were terminally ill and extremely sick. And as it turns out, they wanted to see us before they died. That was why they were so upset. And they never, either one of them, ever said one word about their health. They never said a thing about what was wrong, what they were doing to try to deal with it or anything else. All they talked about with me, it was 20 hours a day, was what we're going to do next year and what we're going to do for 10 years and what's the plan. Because there's still hundreds of millions of people in India that have not heard the gospel. And they're at the forefront. Francis has probably had a hand indirectly in over 1 million people obeying the gospel through his radio and television programs. Brother Swami has personally been a part of campaigns where over 65,000 people have been baptized. And they're worried about the future. And that's why they wanted us there. And so we went through all of that and laid out our plans. And we came home and just barely got our feet on the ground at home when we got word that Francis had died. And Brother Swami, he's still going. I don't know how, but he's still alive. But anyway, I thought about that a lot. And I thought, what would I be talking about if I knew that I was spending my last few days on earth? What's going to be on my mind? And I'm fighting something that's going to take my life and end it. How many of us would be thinking about what needs to be done so that more people can hear the gospel? More people can hear the gospel. Probably not many, or not as much as we ought to. And it just pointed out to me the understanding that they have of how unimportant so many things in this world are, and how important it is for us to be ready to go to the other side and to help as many other people as possible to make that journey into eternity. And it means the world to them, and it should to us. So as we finish tonight, I guess we'll have an invitation song. And if you feel like you need to straighten things out between you and the Lord, if you've never entered His kingdom, that doorway is through repentance and baptism. And if you have and you don't think you're where you ought to be, to get things straightened out is repentance. And you repent and ask for forgiveness and pray, and you can be restored. So if you need some help with your life to make things right, we invite you to come while we sing.
Let's sing 456. Please stand. 456. There's a fountain free, 'tis for you and me. Let us haste, oh haste to its brink. 'Tis a fount of love from the source of love, and He bids us all freely drink. Will you come to the fountain free? Will you come? 'Tis for you and me, thirsty soul. Hear the welcome call. 'Tis a fountain open for all. There's a rock that's clear, and no soul is left that may not its pure water share. It's for you and me, and this stream I see. Let us hasten joyfully there. Will you come to the fountain free? Will you come? It's for you and me, thirsty soul. Hear the welcome call. It's a fountain